Hello everyone, this is part 12 of What If Naruto Was Trained by the Kyuubi, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. 1 week later. It had been a week since Sasuke's little spat with Naruto, and both Sharingan users were now back to full fighting strength. Kakashi's training had paid off quite well for his original team. Their chakra control and reserves were boosted a good chunk thanks to their completion of Walker walking. Once they had matted it, he decided to send them out in pairs to bodyguard Tazuna as he continued his work on the bridge. And today was his and Sakura's turn to go, however he decided to bring everyone but Naruto and Natsumi along, guessing they already knew the training he was going to have them perform while at the bridge. Team 7 along with Tazuna were walking along the mist-filled bridge heading to the construction area when they noticed the unconscious boss of Tazuna's workers sprawled along the bridge. Seems Zabuza has healed as well, Kakashi stated, his visible eye now dressed with concentration. Good. I'll finally be able to test myself after the training I've completed, Sasuke said, with a smirk, his Sharingan already flaring in anticipation to test his new strength. The group continued on, making sure the workers were still alive, who miraculously were. They reaching the end of the bridge when the mist around the bridge grew heavier. So we meet once again, Kakashi. Zabuza's cut through the tense silence that permeated the air. The team quickly surrounded Tazuna as planned, while swiveling their heads looking for the new Nin. The mist began to slightly clear and revealed both Zabuza in a new outfit, as well as the hunter Nin that saved him from last time. Seems you made a full recovery from your near-death state your little friend dealt you, Zabuza, Kakashi taunted. Even if I wasn't, it would still be enough to finish you. You won't be so lucky this time, Kakashi, that Sharingan of yours won't help you. The taller man growled out. We'll just see, the Junin said, revealing his Sharingan. I'll take the hunter Nin, Sasuke stated. Zabuza chuckled lightly. So the little genin is volunteering to be the first to S. Very well then, Haku, show him how real shinobi fight. And don't let your emotions get in the way like the other times either. Zabuza ordered. Haku just nodded at his orders and walked forward between the two groups just as Sasuke had done. She pulled out a senbon and got in her usual stance, while Sasuke did the same with a kunai. The two soon disappeared, creating small puddles and splashes where they landed across the bridge while attacking each other when the opportunities presented themselves. I see you had 'em trained during our hiatus, Kakashi. But I hope you don't think that a week will make a difference between your genin and Haku. Hell with her Kekkei Genkai, she could in theory beat me in a fight. If I didn't have every inch and thought of her wrapped around my finger, that is. Zabuza stated while enjoying the kids' show in front of him. Kakashi heeded Zabuza's words carefully, and in truth had to agree with him. Even with Sasuke's training and blood limit activated, he still seemed to have a sluggish reaction time against Haku's attacks. A stalemate soon commenced between the two fighters, where her senbon and his kunai were slocked. Not bad. Sasuke grunted out, putting more pressure on his weapon, trying to force her back. You've gotten stronger, however I'm afraid not strong enough. I have already won this little battle, Haku stated, before surprising everyone but Zabuza when she began a set of one-handed seals and stomped her foot on the ground to upraise some water into the air. Damn, Sasuke is outmatched. For her to be able to use one-handed seals at her age. Kakashi thought, both scared for Sasuke, and intrigued about the jutsu at the same time. Hyoten, Sensatsu Sushu, ice style, death by 1,000 flying water needles. Haku yelled, when the water in the air took form of 1,000 senbon needles made of ice. Sasuke was in a panic. He wouldn't have ever imagined that Haku's unknown blood limit was Hyoten manipulation. Not only that, but to use one-handed seals. Sasuke knew he was in trouble, but quickly ran through scenarios on what to do. Gomen. Haku apologized before performing one last seal, which made the needles fire at the prone Uchiha. I only have one shot at this, Sasuke thought before letting his Sharingan anticipate the best time to escape. The moment soon presented itself to him, and concentrated a large sum of chakra to his feet, which successfully sent him flying into the air and out of the way of the jutsu. Ah, the Uchiha is inventive, Zabuza remarked offhandedly. He's much more than that, Zabuza, Kakashi responded. Perhaps, but I won't be seeing what else he can do. After all, we have a match to finish now, don't we? The bandaged man retorted while going through his own seals. Ninpu, Kirigakure no Jutsu, ninja art, hidden mist technique. Kakashi just pulled out a kunai and prepared for the oncoming battle. Damn. Now I wish I brought those two, even if they would have complained the whole time. Kakashi berated himself, annoyed at the unfortunate turn of events before the heavy artificial mist covered the entire area. Tazuna's house. Currently Naruto's worst enemy while in bed seemed to be winning in their eternal struggle for domination. Fing sunlight. He mentally grumbled, his face contorted in annoyance. Naruto soon realized that the evilness of the sun would always win out, and decided to not postpone the inevitable and opened his eyes to the morning. He turned to see his mate sleeping contentedly on his chest, and to both his playful annoyance and humor was completely en. She does this to me on purpose, I swear. He thought, chuckling. Wonder what Sasuke would say if he saw us like this right now, he questioned, trying to stifle his laughter so not to rouse his bedmate. He caressed her cheek softly, before pulling her off him so he could get ready for the morning, that is until he heard Inari scream. Leave my car san alone. The urgency, and fear in the boy's tone caused Naruto to become both curious, and annoyed at the same time while he put on a pair of pants. Bah! Must be Gator's dogs trying to get an upper hand with Tazuna. The pseudo-blonde thought, before strapping his last shoe on and shunshing outside of the house. Alright, what is going on? Naruto asked, appearing on the dock outside the house. Naruto quickly assessed the situation, seeing two henchmen who liked to play samurai holding Tsunami with Inari crying to give her back. Like we told the kid, unless you want to just stay the hell out of the way. The larger goon stated, unsheathing his katana. Naruto made no verbal response, and only summoned 2 balls of blue spiraling chakra into each hand, before disappearing. Seems the kid was smart too. The goon stated before, letting out an unbridled scream of pain, falling to the ground face first. Waraji. The second goon that was still holding Tsunami yelled, after seeing his partner's lower body blown completely off from the blue ball in Naruto's hand. Let her go. I will not ask again. Naruto ordered emotionlessly, with Waraji's blood completely drenching him, and a familiar blue chakra ball in his other hand. The man just looked terrified at the blonde teenager, as he brought his shaking sword up to Tsunami's tea. This kid is insane, he thought. How do I know you won't K me afterwards? He shouted, fear obvious in his voice. You don't, Naruto began. But if you release her I promise to not K you. He offered. You expect me to believe that? No shinobi I've seen ever had a sliver of honor in them. They'd faster SU in the back than have honor. The goon counted in desperation. Guess I'm your first one then. He answered back, letting his Rasengan disappear as a show of good faith. His guard is down, K him Zuri. Waraji yelled, apparently still alive, though not particularly looking well if the massive pool of blood and intestines surrounding his body were any indication. Zuri just looked in Naruto's eyes and saw nothingness. He knew if he harmed either the woman or the boy he would certainly Oh. Okay, I'll let her go. He agreed, seeing Naruto relaxing ever so slightly. But I'll go to the edge of the forest and then release her. Just cause you say you have honor won't make me believe it. He demanded, only seeing Naruto nod in agreement. You fool. He'll K you anyway. K him now, then do away with the B. Waraji shouted, with blood careening out of his nose and mouth. It was obvious that he wasn't long for this world. Zuri didn't even listen to his partner, and with the speed of a turtle crossed the dock, keeping his eyes focused on Naruto, with his sword on Tsunami's en. He soon reached the tree line of the forest, and without another second threw her towards the beach and ran like a bat out of hell into the forest. Tsunami quickly recovered and ran frantically to her house and hugged her son, whispering calming words for both her son's sake and her own. Naruto, seeing them reunited, let the tiniest of smiles cross his face, before the gurgling laughter of Waraji was heard. You, cough, will when Gato finds out, cough. He threatened while manically laughing, causing Naruto to sneer in disgust. Tsunami-san, take Inari inside, you won't want to see this. He softly ordered before picking up the S-man by the scruff of his shirt, or what remained of it. No, the woman responded sternly, her eyes with determination. I'm tired of running. I want to see for my own eyes this man's end. She demanded with conviction in her voice, and Inari furiously nodding in agreement. Naruto only looked back, and nodded, very well. He agreed, before summoning another Rasengan and slowly and quite painfully, if Waraji's screams were any indication, ran the ball of chakra into his chest. Bridge. Well, this is certainly interesting, ne Naru-kun. Natsumi asked as the two just looked at the situation they had run into at the bridge. The demons had reached the bridge expecting nothing out of the ordinary, but even if there was a battle going on, seeing what they saw now wouldn't have come up on either of their minds. The entire bridge was covered in a thick mist, with Kakashi and Zabuza on one end of the bridge obviously continuing their fight from last week, only this time Kakashi was the one losing. While on the other end was the strangest thing, a dome of what appeared to be mirrors made of ice surrounded both Sai and Sasuke, who both appeared to be on their last legs thanks to the dozens of senbon needles lodged into different parts of their boss. Sakura was still protecting Tazuna, while looking torn between her mission and going to help her comrades. Once they got the gist of the situation, the demon pair walked up to Sakura and the bridge builder. Sakura calmed down, Naruto's bored voice echoed around the Kaneki. "N.A. Naruto, is that you?" She stuttered before seeing the silhouettes of the demon pair within the mist, fear, anxiety, and the slightest bit of relief easily seen in her expression. "Hi, calm down, we'll handle this," he reassured her, before the silhouettes vanished. "Please hurry. Sasuke-kun," she thought worriedly. Ice dome. Damn. Even with my Sharingan being able to keep up with her speed, my body's reactions still aren't fast enough. Sasuke mentally growled, before another senbon was lodged into his right arm. "Any ideas, Sai?" He grunted to the kneeling boy next to him. "Gomen, but I lost have my tools, but even if I did I wouldn't be able to do much against this kind of opponent." Sai answered, getting an annoyed growl from the Uchiha. "Damn, and I only have a little chakra left," he admitted. "Then it's a good thing we've come." Naruto's voice seemed to bounce off the mirrors, making it impossible to determine where he was. "Great, the worst possible time he could arrive, when I'm on my last legs," Sasuke thought, a scowl growing on his face. "Haku-san, have you come to a decision?" Natsumi's voice echoed throughout the dome just like Naruto's. Hearing that question caused Haku to stop her attacks on the teen boys, while her image was etched into every mirror. A long silence entered the area, which both pissed of Sasuke and intrigued Sai. "So the bastard did talk with her. Damn traitor," the Raven boy roared. "Seems Naruto-san and Natsumi-san tried to make some kind of deal with the Hunter Nin. I should see how this plays out, if nothing else it'll at least give me time to recover." Sai thought. "You traitor, you were talking to her behind our backs," Sasuke shouted accusingly. "Shut up, Sasuke, learn just when to speak your mind and when to keep quiet," Naruto barked. "Gomen Haku-san, but we must hear your answer, you have no more time to think it over." Naruto's tone caused Haku to slightly tremble. She still wasn't completely sure of her answer. She quickly took a calming breath and thought about everything about her life. The day her parents SD, all the years of loneliness, the day she met Zabuza, the years of shinobi training, the forced sual acts, and humiliations she had endured to satisfy his lust as his tool, the unnecessary moves she had committed, all for Zabuza. And finally the day she met the demon pair and heard Naruto's words, along with them offering her a safe way out for a new life and home that day in the forest. After all the memories flashed through her mind, she finally opened her eyes with a determination and clear agenda, and that agenda was to live for Zabuza no longer. Haku soon melted out of her Makuhushu demonic ice crystal mirrors, and landed effortlessly onto the ground, before the mirrors began to melt and turn into puddles of water once more. Naruto and Natsumi then entered the area, revealing themselves to the fighters. Naruto smiled at the masked girl. "I'm glad you made the correct choice for yourself, Haku-san." She smiled behind her mask, and bowed her head slightly. "I decided it was time to try to live for myself instead of someone else, Naruto-sama." Naruto's smile grew cold. "Do not call me that. I didn't ask you decide to go from one master to another, Haku-san. You have chosen this on your own for yourself. Naruto retorted sternly, not wanting Haku to make him her master now. Gumen, she responded, before an odd, chirping sound resonated in the area. I don't know what you three are talking about, but it's obvious you are in league with each other and I cannot allow this to go on. Sasuke yelled as he charged forward with his last ounce of strength, and a white lightning ball in his hand. Reikiri. The talking trio was so wrapped up in their conversation, they completely forgot about the two injured teens, and were caught off guard when Sasuke attacked, his target clearly being Haku. He was within a yard of his target when he thrust his arm forward to el his opponent's heart when a hand grabbed his thrusting wrist and held it completely still with Sasuke's body struggling for dominance. Sasuke, while I do admire your stubbornness to continue the fight, I will have to ask you to stop attacking Haku-san, seeing as how she is under both my and my clan's protection as of 30 seconds ago. Naruto said, before throwing Sasuke's arm into the ground where the jutsu created a rather impressive crater considering the little chakra he had behind the jutsu. Please explain, Sai requested. We'll explain later, right now your sensei might need help. Natsumi replied as everyone looked towards where they heard Kakashi's battle taking place. With Kakashi and Zabuza. Seems your Sharingan is useless to you if you can't look into my eyes, Zabuza taunted. Then it's lucky I'm not completely dependent on it. Kakashi retorted, before smearing blood on his hand from the chest wound he just received from Zabuza's sword, onto the unfurled scroll that rested in his other hand. Kuchio's Choiga no Jutsu, summoning, tracking Fang technique. Kakashi slammed the scroll on the ground, which caused a crack along the bridge to open, before snaking its way towards Zabuza. Zabuza unfortunately was unable to move out of the way before a pack of 8 nin dogs jumped out of the ground and bit down on him, immobilizing him. Now I believe it's time to finish this so I can help my students. Kakashi spoke before a familiar blue orb and chirping sound echoed in the vicinity. Reikiri, he yelled as he burst from his position heading straight towards a prone and defenseless Zabuza. Damn these mutts, I can't get free, he thought, while seeing Kakashi quickly gained ground towards him. Guess Haku has one last use as my tool, he concluded as an idea wrapped around his mind. Haku, he shouted suddenly, expecting his tool to show up any second. Upon hearing her name called by her former master, her body reacted on its own, taking an unconscious step towards the fight, before a hand clasped on her shoulder stopping her advancement. She turned to see Naruto shaking his head, before letting her shoulder go. Haku looked saddened after realizing what he silently said, and took one final look in Zabuza's direction. If you wish to be granted a new life, you must cast away your old. Natsumi said sagely as they listened to the battle, until her angry scream of pain, and loud, splashing, sound echoed in their ears. The scream soon began to grow softer, as the mist itself lifted, creating a much clearer scene on the bridge. Soon Team 7 could see the end result of Kakashi and Zabuza's fight. Kakashi's arm running through the nuke nin's chest. Kakashi pulled out his arm with a sickening crunch of bone, before turning and seeing to his surprise all of his team alive and well. Well as one could expect someone to be who just fought a Hyoten manipulator in the land of waves no less. I suppose he didn't need your help after all. Natsumi chuckled. And it seems you didn't need my help either, Kakashi answered back looking at the worn-out Sai and Sasuke. You two all right? He questioned, getting nods in response. Of course I doubt they would have been had it not been for Naruto and Natsumi showing up when they did. He mused, while looking at the two, before noticing Haku next to Naruto and quirking an eyebrow. Mind explaining? He asked, the topic of his question quite obvious to the two. I'll explain once we get back to Tazuna's, Naruto replied, before a maniacal and quite annoying laugh surrounded the area. No need for that, my boys will take care of you here soon enough. The voice called out from behind the group. Everyone turned to see a large gang of what appeared to be Ronin and bandits just like Naruto had to deal with at the docks. While a short, plump man in a crisp business suit stood in front of them with a superior grin on his face. You must be Gato, Kakashi offered, with the tiniest sliver of venom in his voice. Got that right, Cyclops, Gato answered with a smirk, before turning to Zabuza's corpse. Oh, and thank you for taking care of my rather large bill also. Would have been a nuisance if he kept on annoying me for his money. Not that I was going to pay him anyway. His words cut deep in Haku, Naruto and Natsumi. Naruto's gaze grew ice-cold and focused solely on the short, fat man. Natsu-chan, he called out, before biting his thumbs and summoning both Sauten K's and Shinku Kaijin and threw her old sword. Haku-san, we'll leave Gato to you. Naruto finished, his intentions quite obvious to everyone near him. Naruto, wait. Kakashi yelled, trying to stop the three from leaving, but couldn't even finish his sentence before the demon pair sprinted towards the mercenaries Gato hired, while Haku disappeared through an ice mirror. What Team 7 and Tazuna witnessed in the next few minutes wasn't a fight. It was a genocide. Never had any of them seen anything so grotesque in their lives. Not even Sasuke considered his own family's in the same league as what he witnessed. Even Kakashi, a seasoned shinobi and veteran of the Third Shinobi War, considered this one of the worst things he'd ever witnessed. Both Sakura and Tazuna had tossed the contents of their stomachs on the bridge not even a minute after the trio began their assault. By the time everyone was the entire area was bathed in blood, and bone. If you didn't know this was a bridge beforehand, you'd swear you were standing in the bowls of hell itself. They're monsters. Sakura groaned out, remembering a rather vicious head cleaving, and threw up once more. No. They're shinobi, Sakura. And whether you like it or not, this is a shinobi's life. Kakashi answered solemnly. Kami-sama, what has the village and I done to you, Naruto? And what happened in Natsumi's and Haku's lives to warrant such unbridled carnage against obviously undermatched opponents? I really need to talk to Hokage-sama about this. Kakashi thought with a frown under his mask. How can not only Naruto, but those other two be so strong? I don't understand. I've been the very best since the beginning of the academy. And I'm even of noble blood with one of the most feared Kekkei Genkai of all the elemental nations. Yet compared to those three around the same age as me, I'm just a helpless puppy. I need to get stronger. This is unacceptable. If they can defeat me so easily as they have, I have no chance against Itachi at my current strength. Sasuke raged in his mind, his fists clenching and his Sharingan flaring viciously while watching the three's S. Once everyone was Naruto, Natsumi and Haku rejoined the group, while the group silently slinked away from them, wanting to be as far away from the blue teens as possible. That wasn't really necessary, you two. Kakashi scolded them half-heartedly, only receiving annoyed glares from the trio. Let's just go, I want to get cleaned up. Naruto spoke, ignoring Kakashi's statement, already heading back towards Tazuna's house with Natsumi and Haku in tow. Kakashi-sensei, Sakura questioned almost in a whisper. Let's go, he answered before grabbing Zabuza's corpse and followed Naruto. Once everyone returned home, they all began to settle down and relax the best they could after having such a serious day happen. Once the mouse trio were cleaned up, Kakashi wished to have a meeting to have explained everything that happened, including the rather large blood puddle on the deck outside the house, and the pair's talks with Haku. The three explained the best they could without giving away any of the more important reasons about Haku's decision, which thankfully satisfied the Junin. However, he warned them they would have to talk with the Hokage about everything that went on during this mission. Once the talk was finished, everyone decided to get some well-deserved rest, with Haku sleeping in Naruto and Natsumi's room. The pair didn't trust Sasuke nor Kakashi if Haku slept in a separate room alone, plus there weren't any extra rooms anyway, so it worked out. Natsumi, however, was a little peeved that because of the extra person in the room, she and Naruto couldn't finish their little activity they had started in the morning. But she conceded that she'd get plenty more chances once they were back in the Namikaze compound. The next day was uneventful since the threat of the mission was already disposed of, and all the team did was help the bridge get built faster. It was close to nighttime before the bridge was finally completed thanks to Natsumi and Naruto's use of cage bushins, of which they were quickly questioned about by Kakashi on just how they learned one of Konoha's kinjutsus when they were out of Konoha when he assumed they learned it. He also questioned them about how they could use it without hand signs. They just shrugged and gave an half-assed answer, which made Kakashi note to mention it to the Hokage during the meeting he'd have with him. They were also questioned by Sasuke personally, because he figured that was the kind of bushin he fought against in the forest with Naruto. And questioned him while secretly wanting to learn the jutsu himself after finding out that it was a Junin-ranked kinjutsu. The pair just leveled a glare at the boy's attitude, and shrugged him off, which only caused him to bother them more, until they, Kawarimia'd with 2 clones to get away from him. Wanting to get many of his questions answered as soon as possible, Kakashi told his team and Haku he wanted to leave for Konoha that night. After the few groans from Sakura ended, they prepared their bags and set out, thanking Tazuna's family for their hospitality, and good luck with Wave's future. The team took another day to reach the gates of Konoha, which for everyone but Haku, Naruto and Natsumi were thankful to see. Haku because she was apprehensive over what might happen to her, while the demon pair were simply annoyed at being back. What they hadn't expected, however, was to get stopped by the gate guards by order of the Hokage. The team looked confused and with begrudging remarks waited at the gate, until several Anbu officers showed up and finally answered the unanimous question everyone wanted answered. Uzumaki, Naruto and Natsumi, please come with us to Hokage-sama's office. The council wishes to speak with you and Hokage-sama. The Neko, masked Anbu said with authority, despite having a pleasant feminine voice. The team and Kakashi just looked at the two with questioning looks. But upon seeing the annoyance on the pair's faces, guessed it was news to them as well. Kakashi spoke to them quickly before dismissing the team and leaving them to go on their separate way. The moment they were gone, he shunshined away, hoping to have a word with Sarutobi before the meeting happened. The demon pair just stared annoyed at the 3 Anbu, but soon conceded and created a pair of cage bushins to escort Haku to the Namikaze mansion while they went to said meeting. Haku and the clones nodded in understand and soon left. Lead on, Naruto softly ordered, before all 5 shunshined towards the Hokage Tower. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.